so welcome back to Lex Reads. So in today's video, I wanted to do my auto by authors. I actually was inspired by Kayla from Kayla's Bookish Vibes. She recently did a video talking about her automatic buys, and while I was watching it, I was like, thinking of authors that are my automatic buys. I have done a video before, which I'll put it down below, and it has changed. Now, right now, I have 5 authors, and with my automatic buys, like I have every book of the author. And usually how I do it is if I read a author's, let's say book for the first time, and if I like it, I will start buying their backlist. Then after that, once they come up with something, I'm going to automatically buy it. Because there is a difference of like favorite authors and automatic buys, because I do have some favorite authors, but like I don't have all their books, and it's like just one book that I just love, you know what I mean? But yeah, with these authors, these 5 authors, if they come out with a coloring book, I will be getting it. So before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So the first one, hands down, I was introduced through her historical fiction because she was a contemporary author, and once she changed genres and came out with this book, I was done. And that author is Sadena Johnson. Y'all, I have a problem when it comes to this author. First of all, I have 3 copies of this book. I have one pretty copy that is just like, don't touch that. Then the other 2 is a hardback, and that's where I annotated and wrote. Third one is this copy, which is a paperback, which I also have highlighted and tabbed. Now, I think the last time I read this book, I did use the other copy. Crazy thing about this author in this book, especially this book, after I read it, I will go back and start it over again. And reason why I'm just so baffled with myself is because this is a slavery themed book, and you have to get your mind right when you read this book. The stuff that Phoebe Dolores Brown goes through, oh my gosh, y'all. And it's inspired by a real life woman named Mary Lumpkin. If you guys have not read this, I would urge you to read this. When she came out with her latest historical fiction, which is about 2 years ago, House of Eve. I also have 2 copies of that. I didn't go and get 3, but I did get 2. And did you guys see? She is going to be coming out with her 3rd historical fiction book next year in February. They already have the arcs out, but y'all know I don't do arcs. I don't like arcs. I like to, because that's not the finished copy. So when it comes out on that date, you already know we'll be getting it. I'm already going to do a vlog on it and everything, just like I did with the House of Eve, because I was so excited about it. Next is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I always credit her because when I got back into reading, I got introduced to African literature, and she was like the first one that I read and absolutely loved. And my favorite book by her is Americana. If you've never read any Chimamanda books, I would say pick up Americana. So good. But she recently came out with a book this past March. This Dream Count. I did a reading vlog. I'll put it down below. And I really did like this. I gave this a 4-star. This would be a 5-star. This one, it reads like short stories. I was so excited about this book is because she did a short story back in 2020, I believe. And it was called Zakora. And the way that she left it, it was like a cliffhanger. But if you do read this book, it does pick up where that short story left off. Um, but but also, if you read that short story, it looks like she just pasted that short story and put it in here. And like I said, you get a little bit insight of like the aftermath of Zakora. I'm being around the bush, y'all, because Zakora's situation, she meets a man, falls in love, gets pregnant, and yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. If you guys watch my reading vlog, I talk about it, don't give any spoilers, but yeah, just go through all the characters. But it was a very good book. I would recommend this book, but I would say if you have not read any Chimamanda books, I would start with this. I wouldn't start with Dream Count at all. And this is literary fiction. Next is Diane McKini Westone. I know how I feel about Diane McKini Westone. She is one of my favorites. I have all her books. And I actually am getting one today because she just came out with the book last week, y'all, on what, the 12th, whenever pub days, usually it falls on the Tuesday. But let me tell y'all about this. So this brand new book, right, just came out. I don't like to pre-order books. I know it's good for the author to either pre-order books, or when the book comes out that day, go to the store at least the whole week, that first week sale. That's the importance, you know. I go to two bookstores. I go to a local bookstore. I said, okay, well, let me check Barnes and Noble. Go on the website, don't have it either. I'm like, this book just came out today. Y'all don't have it? No, we don't have it. Then I said, okay, well, let me maybe a day or two later. Because again, I always think about the first week, because it has happened to me in the past where I've waited like a day or two. Again, nothing. So I had to order this book on Amazon. That is ridiculous. And that's what I say about, if you're an author that is not just well known, they're not going to put your books in the store. You have to be like, like you gotta, your name kind of has to be out there. And with her, it's just so bittersweet because she is such an incredible author, and all of her books do not read like, her previous book. It's not the same characters in different settings. And the fact that all her books are set in Philadelphia, because she's in Philadelphia, she lives there, she's from there, the stories are totally different. I think I've done two reading vlogs on her, which I'll put them down below. I just got, last month I read her book Lazaretto, and then when I went to New Orleans, this is the latest book that I picked up of hers, Arjun. And again, an incredible author, incredible storyteller. If you're looking for something that has, a good pace, excellent writing, a good storyline is going to keep you engaged, you need to pick her up. You need to pick her up. I started reading a book called, let me show you guys. This was the first book I ever read by her. It's called Blues Dancing. Love it so much. It's a young girl. She's a preacher's kid. She goes off to college, real sheltered. She meets a man that's, kind of been around the block, and girl, they do some things, okay? So good. And then her book that she's known for, her first book, Tumbling, amazing, amazing, amazing. Does not read like a first book. Y'all, please. I would say read Tumbling, Tumbling, and then just go on from her catalog. I have three books that I need to read by her, and I will be done. Next is Peace Aduzi Mindi. She is also an African author. She is from Ghana, and this was her first book, His Only Wife. I always say, if you're ever in a reading slump, what helps me is either urban fiction or African literature. This, amazing. Peace, the way Peace writes, it's just like Sadiqa, where you feel like it's a movie, and she's funny without trying to be funny. Because although this book is serious, but it has funny bits. And you have a young lady, what's her name? Afi. Afi is from Ghana. She's a seamstress, and they come from like a poor background. Her mother is a widow, so she's been her and her mother for some time. But she ends up marrying a man, and the day of the marriage, like, he doesn't come to the ceremony, right? But he's a well-established man, family's well-established, they have means. So finally she meets him. And the reason why, they did like the arranged marriage is his family does not like the woman that he's involved with. And they know, like, Afi, well, little do they know, Afi's very quiet, kind of go with the flow. And again, because of her background, they're like, well, she don't got nothing, she a seamstress, so she ain't gonna, cause no havoc or anything like that, which she doesn't. But if you read the book, you'll see, some stuff that go on. Afi is not just little Afi. See their relationship, how it blossoms, and I love the commentary with her and her mother. It is so funny. Drum and Tea is all the way. Y'all know I love a good read. It was a reading session where girl Fee came off like Nene Leakes, okay, from Housewives, and oh, it was a good read, y'all. But this, amazing. So of course, this is her first book. And then 2 years later, she came out with this book, Night Bloom. And she's another author, just like Diane McKini Westone, where it's not the same characters in different settings. This is also set in Ghana. and America. You have two cousins. Are like they're same age, and they're like sisters, different backgrounds, and something unfortunate happens to one of the cousins, and you just see how they both like see the story, how they both tell the story of what happened. And then one of the cousins, she's very smart, so she goes to America for university, and the other one stays in, Ghana. But so good. It's when I read, I think I also did a reading blog on this, but yeah, so good, so good. So whenever she comes up with her next book, I will be getting it. And then lastly, this is my girl, y'all. Like, and y'all probably already know who I'm gonna talk about. Every time I mention a favorite author recommendation, this author is going to come up every single time, and that is Bernice L. McFadden. If you have not read a Bernice L. McFadden book, you need to read one ASAP. She has one, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now 12 books. A lot of these books I have 2 to 3 copies. For example, Sugar, this is her first book debut. I would always start with Sugar and then go on. Um, I have I just have 2 copies of this. Okay, I thought I had more. I really want to get this one because it was a special edition back in 2020. It was the 20th anniversary, so had to get it. And it has a very beautiful foreword by Kimberly Elise. She's a actress. Y'all, if you guys like the book Sula by Toni Morrison, you'll probably like this because Sugar kind of gives you a little bit of a Sula, but still she's not copying off of her. You know how Sula kind of loose and get around. Sugar kind of that way, but yeah, there's a reason why she's like that. That she writes characters that is so memorable, but you're not gonna forget. You're not gonna forget Sugar. And then one thing I love about her books is she also does not only contemporary, fiction books, but she does like historical fiction books. Her book, The Book of Harlan, oh my gosh, it's actually talking about Black men in the Holocaust, which I had no idea that even existed. But yeah, girl, we was in the Holocaust. She just came out with a book in March, and this actually is a memoir, which I'm so excited to read. I'm going to read this in November for Nonfiction November, and it's talking about her family, obviously herself, and I just love the cover. Another reedition that came out was a maybe a month ago is Camilla's Roses. Again, it's a reedition. This is such a good story. If you guys like or seen the movie Holiday Heart, you would like this because it gives you that vibe of it's a girl that is estranged from her family, and she's recently had a health crisis, and she goes back to just get some answers. And yeah, her mother kind of gives you that vibe of in that movie Holiday Heart. She gives you that vibe, but such a great story. I actually need to revisit this. So yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to my automatic buys. Again, these are 5 authors where I have every single one of their books. And for the majority, I have read all of them. I think the one that I haven't read all their books is Sadena Johnson, which I have 2, 3 to read. And then with Diane McKini Weston, I think I also have three more to read of her. So you guys know with her for the past like 3-4 years, every year I've had a Diane McKini Weston on my TBR. This year it was Lazaretto and loved every minute of it. So yeah, but yeah, guys, that's it when it comes to this video. I'll be back with more Black books.